No, this isn't just like a comedic art world journey. This is like got some real layers of like greed, power, and like the shadiness of the art world.
Talking about your first feature, Saving Banksy, quite a big production. I was just like checking it second time before the interviews. There are almost like 60 names on the list, of the crew. And can you share how did you got into that project and how it all started? What was the beginnings of that film?
So I was doing a lot of like, just independent work at that point. One of the producers of that film kind of like hit me up through the gallery scene and like kind of let me know what the story was with the like rat and what the guy was doing. Mm-hmm. And like, it was right after Exit to the Gift Shop came out. And so like, there was like a period of time where I was just kind of getting to know him, see what he's about, like I was like, I didn't want to jump in if it was just like an opportunistic thing, Mm-hmm. But he was ended up being cool. Really seemed like he had like pure intentions with like trying to save this thing,
right?
And like not profit from it, and like
So he was the one. He was the one that reached out to you and asked you to kind of create this.
Yeah, he kind of was like, this is what I'm doing. So yeah, then I was like, all right. So we just started kind of like in the beginning, just like shooting like once every few months, like, mm-hmm. And then we'd have different, like I'd have like a different sound person, or it was kind of just small at first, and then seeing where the story really went. Because like, as you know, with Saving Banksy, it took us like 6 years to shoot that.
It's insane. It's insane.
So like we were actually filming over 5 years, basically, with crazy. Like 1 year of like editing.
Crazy.
So a lot of it was just kind of like not really knowing where it's going to end up and just having it be like something that like, mm-hmm. I would work on every like now and again, right, so I was committed to it. There was no money or anything like that, but it was like, anytime there was like, it was going to get moved somewhere, it was like something was going to happen with it. I would show up and I'd film it.
Right. So would you say that you went with the flow rather than having like a pre-composed script from the very beginning?
Yeah. We definitely like just kind of like captured the way we could. Yeah, it's just a lot easier to like go with the like flow of the river than like to fight it. It's like, and then you can get creative in how you present it.
Right.
You have to solve problems, but you can like be creative about that, and then mm-hmm. like turn a negative into a positive somehow.
Right.
So there's always a solution. Like worst case scenario, you could always do animation. Like it's like
right.
We did that one time in Saving Banksy, and
yes.
It's like,
and that worked very well.
Whatever's necessary to make that point, mm-hmm. And like exactly. for that animation, and specifically, I would want to give a shout out to like Jim Dershberger and mm-hmm. Howell. They did Sanjay and Craig on Nickelodeon, and like super talented dudes, but they did that animation for us.
Cutting out the Banksy image, right? And
mm-hmm.
yes.
Because we didn't have footage of any of that. But we want to make that point, So it's like, but
and it worked really well. It was very organically implemented, and it was just like, it's part of the film, and it worked really well. But somehow I was really impressed because I thought that you were able to really capture very important moments of, even those kind of key moments of obviously removing the image, but also these negotiations with Mr. Kessler, right, and that art establishment world, and even like having him on the phone with the owner of the like was it planned or did it just happen? Like, can you
share? Dude, all right. I'll tell you. Yeah. So like, I kind of knew he was shady, like mm-hmm. a little bit, mm-hmm. because of like the Palestine stuff. I already knew that he was recording those.
Mm-hmm.
So like, when I went to interview him, I kind of went in, and I went in real light with just like a camera and tripod, mm-hmm. and I could tell right away he was one of those types of people that enjoyed to like
attention.
Yeah. And so I just kind of like, like saw where I went, and he like started like telling me his plans with like Basil and all that. Mm-hmm. And so then knowing the guy with, mm-hmm. Brian with the rat, hey, maybe we should, like I have this friend with a Banksy, to put them in contact. Mm-hmm. And then that's what that phone call ended up being. And then I just was like, I filmed it because it happened like, it was like, hey, here's his number. And like Kessler, as soon as he saw the photo of uh-huh. Brian's, he was like, what's his number? And
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
you know,
Wow, insane. But it just felt so organic and so like, it's just perfect. It sits in the perfect place and adds to the story immensely and really kind of shows the characters really well. Did he know, the Kessler, did he know, or how did he react to the final piece? Because he's portrayed as he is portrayed, and though you don't have like any kind of subliminal messaging there, but it's obvious that he's doing what he's doing, and the art world, I mean, the street artists have different opinion on what is his contribution, right, to the art world. Do you know what was his reaction to the film?
I don't, but I think that like it's a matter of perspective, because it's like, he's the one in the legal right thing, like is the ironic thing.
Right.
So like out of everything that happens in the movie, he's the one that's most in like the like black and white legal right.
Right.
Because of like his paperwork and like how he goes about his business.
Right.
So it's like morally and all of that other stuff is just like other stuff.
Right.
So, but like also the other thing is like, there's a lot of people that see it, and if they are like want a Banksy like that, now they now from that movie, however he's portrayed, now they know where to find one.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like that's the other thing is I don't think it's actually it hasn't had a negative impact on it.
Right.
Like
Right.
no, I think he's probably doing fine.
Right. Basically getting like an advertisement for his business.
Yeah.
With the film.
And also I always kind of got an air that he kind of enjoyed being like, he was always viewed kind of as like a little bit of a villain within the art world.
Yeah.
So like I kind of think that he kind of like enjoys a little bit of that. Like,
all right.
he's good at it. He looks like he enjoys the role.
Right.
Right. Like you could tell when he was giving us the tour of all of his like Banksys and the way he talked about them, like you could just see it. He's like he's like reveling in it.
Exactly. And the one thing that really kind of impressed me with this film is that you are raising really important question: is what's the value of art actually, right? What is the place of art, and how are we supposed to treat it, and what's the whole point? And it's really amazing to see how street artists, are willingly doing the thing that they're doing, even they know that it might be, destroyed in 48 hours, or it can be gone, or, it's really interesting to think, to kind of get into that mind space of the artist. Like, why do they do that? How do you think, as a filmmaker who spends some time with artists?
I think it all goes down to like something that happens in their life, that like is they view as like kind of like that they need to react to in a way, and that reaction just comes out like in it could come out in like visuals, it could come out in music, it could come out in dance, it could come out in all these different outlets, but because of whatever kind of like perfect storm of their situation and everything, it turns into what it is, but it's all a reaction to something,
Right.
Otherwise, I mean, they might still just be a creative person, but I think that it adds like a lightning bolt of energy to whatever's being done, and gives it more of a purpose, which in turn makes it more interesting and like, more poetic or aesthetically pleasing, if you will.
Right. And I guess there is also like a sense of mission for many of these artists. And when you kind of try to compare the two worlds, right, the street art with its messages and with its expression, and then the kind of establishment contemporary art space with these auctions and these people who are buying this crazily expensive works of art, there is like a different mindset and different kind of, it feels like those people are living in two different worlds basically, and it's really beautifully shown in your film. And it's also like a very good food for thought, like what are we doing here actually, what's the purpose of all of this. And I was just curious, what was your largest insight or maybe biggest discovery for yourself as a director working on this film? Something that surprised you about, or you learned something from that?
Yeah, I'd say during the shooting of Basil, the Art Basel stuff, there's a shot of like the Israeli soldier being searched by the little girl.
Yes.
You know, like with like the police officer like standing next to it. It's like roped off.
Right.
But it's like ripped out of fucking like Gaza. Like
yes.
that moment, like filming that was like the most surreal kind of like moment in the whole project for me.
Right. Right.
Like there was like a weird like a trance-like state in like when I was capturing that stuff.
Right.
There's like bullet holes in the painting.
Right. Right.
But like, you know, so it was put up illegally without any permission. But now it's been like removed and is like an artifact with a police officer guarding it, because at the time there were rumors of somebody coming in and splashing paint on.
Right. Right.
And like destroying it. There was like actually real fears of like them being destroyed.
Right.
So they had to put like police officers 24 hours a day on.
Some security measures.
Yeah. You know, kind of that moment where I was like, I kind of like sensed the importance of the story and like what was happening, to where it was like, no, this isn't just like a comedic art world, you know, like journey. Like this is like got some real layers of like greed and like, you know, power and like kind of stuff that needs to be discussed.
Right.
And also kind of the shadiness of the art world in a sense.
Right.
You know, because it's like, I don't think people realize how much commerce moves like through this like kind of like opaque, you know, hemisphere, if you will. Right. You know, like if you want to move like, you know, $50 million from like Russia to the United States, what better way to do that than a canvas and a tube?
Right.
You know?
That's like a perfect system. So
and it's designed like that. It's designed like hundreds of years. It's been like, that's what it is. It's like it operates as this like, you know, and so like I've always been on the graffiti, and the street art is like definitely the fringe of the art movement. Like it's in the art movement, but it's like it's not like, you know, like even Banksy isn't like, you know, in the club as far as you know, Red is kind of getting in the club, but like there are it's a different like just different worlds.
Right.
You know?